to prevent, suppress activities endangering national security. On the punishment aspects, acts and activities endangering national security are serious offenses. Government departments, especially law enforcement agencies, will need to step up their efforts to guard against the infiltration of external intelligence organizations. That means we need to enhance the collection of intelligence and step up training in this regard. As far as the public is concerned, we're going to step up public education on national security. The ordinance requires the government to take forward public education on law-abidingness and national security. There should also be guidance and supervision. In order to achieve effectiveness, we're going to take forward education on national security, patriotism, so as to lay the ground for cultivating the sense the working group chaired by the chief. We will promote Chinese culture, national education, national security education, so as to cultivate members of the public's interest in this regard. And we can also ensure that members of the public are cultivated with a sense of law-abidingness. The Chinese Culture Promotion Office will also organize activities relating to Chinese culture so that we can further promote Chinese culture and establish a platform, especially arts and cultural exchange activities with the Belt and Road countries. Activities relating to the Greater Bay Area. And there will be arts and cultural exchange programs and exhibitions in collaboration with the counterparts in the Greater Bay Area. We've completed legislation on Article 23 of the Basic Law. Now that we can effectively guard against national security risks, we can focus our energy on economic development. And we are going to work on 4 fronts. First, we will implement the initiatives on economic developments in the policy address and the budget. We will grasp all opportunities, will enhance Hong Kong's competitiveness, and finally, we will strive for economic growth. On the first front, full implementation of initiatives relating to promoting economic growth in the budget and the policy address. That means we will develop and bolster our 8 centers so that we will take an industrial-led approach. Second, we will also grasp opportunities presented by the world and by the mainland. There is a shift of economic power from west to east. The Middle East and ASEAN markets now form the major economic force, and we will foster collaboration with these counterparts to promote further collaboration among professions. And we will also integrate with the Greater Bay Area. That means we will enhance connectivity and the flow of people, goods, information, and capital in the Greater Bay Area so that we give play to our role as super value adder and super connector in the Greater Bay Area. We will also leverage on our advantage as a super connector and the gateway between the mainland and the world. We will leverage on our advantages such as professional services. We also have other advantages such as international standards and good monitoring mechanisms. We will organize more business missions so as to tap markets in the Middle East and ASEAN with great potential. We will also enhance Hong Kong's competitiveness, and that means we need talents as well as strategic enterprises. We will continue to trawl for talents and attract enterprises to come to Hong Kong. According to the 2023 World Competitiveness Report, Hong Kong ranked the top 7 among 60 economies. We will continue to attract capital and talents. We've spent efforts in the past 18 months and we've achieved results. We've continued to attract more enterprises to come to Hong Kong. In the first 2 months, Invest Hong Kong assisted 101 mainland and overseas enterprises to set up presence in Hong Kong or expand the business here, up by 43% comparing to the same period last year. Hong Kong has also attracted 50 strategic enterprises to invest in Hong Kong to a tune of $40 billion and create 13,000 jobs. According to this report, there are at least 2,700 family offices in Hong Kong. That's more than double the 1,400 offices in Singapore. And for family offices with assets totaling more than $50 million, they account for 60%, and for asset size of over $100 million, they account for 30%. As for the talent admission schemes, so far 108,000 talents have arrived in Hong Kong. At the low point, our population stood at 7.2 million. Now it has increased by 200,000. That's $7.5 million. Half of the increase in population is due to the admission of talents, and they help enhance Hong Kong's competitiveness. We also need to develop domestic economy. That means we need to work on tourism and investment. We expect the total arrival figures to increase to 50 million throughout the year. And according to estimation, 1.5 million tourists can help contribute an addition of 0.1% to the GDP. So tourism can help promote the economy. We have a lot of tourist attractions in Hong Kong. For example, 4 cruises will be berthed in Hong Kong tomorrow. We will be receiving 10,000 cruise passengers. So cruise tourism is our highlight. And I understand that the industry has continued to develop new itineraries and products so as to cast a wider net. For example, the Hong Kong Tourism Board recently developed a special itinerary for South Korean tourists. This itinerary includes yoga and hiking activities, and yoga instructor has also been instructed to help with the journey. It is important to continue to strive for excellence, and I'm happy to learn that the tourism industry has continued to add value to its industry by developing more products. We'll continue to promote mega events. For example, there are a number of financial and arts and cultural mega events taking place this week. Now, this week is the Financial Mega Events Week. We have the One Earth Summit as well as the Global Investors Symposium, as well as the Wealth for Good in Hong Kong Summit 2024. Now, for arts and culture, we have Arts at Harbour 2024, the Hong Kong International Cultural Summit, Art Central, and Art Basel Hong Kong. These mega events directly drive economic growth. We also attract guests from around the world. They help form a network, and they can publicize their own experience in Hong Kong through the social media and their own network to showcase Hong Kong's advantages. We also have the day and night vibes at the community level, and different sectors such as catering, retail are now equipping themselves with different initiatives to attract tourists. We'll continue to invest in infrastructure and public works, totaling $90 billion. We will create jobs and we will help promote economic growth. So all in all, we're going to implement all initiatives relating to economic development in the policy address and the budget so that we can leverage on the opportunities presented by the country's development. We will also enhance Hong Kong's competitiveness and promote domestic economy so that we can give play to our role as a super connected and super adder, a value adder, and we can also bolster our status as a as an international financial center and international aviation hub, logistics center, so on and so forth, so that we can all build a better future for Hong Kong.
The floor is now open for questions. If you wish to put questions to the CEO, please put up your hand. Please first tell us your media outlet and please limit yourself to 2 questions. We start with the journalist at the back, the lady in white. Good morning, I'm from Now TV. 2 questions. Some say there's a prisoner who was supposed to be released on Monday, but then after the Safeguarding National Security Ordinance was passed, and then the early release is off the table. So what's the reason for the Commissioner of Correctional Services to be not satisfied that early release is against national interest? In this case, can the prisoner apply for judicial review of the decision? The Municipal Solid Waste Charging Scheme will see a demonstration scheme next month. But the EPD and the EEB are not part of the demonstration scheme. How can you assess the measure of the demonstration scheme? So once the government thinks the scheme cannot go ahead, is the government not going to rule out indefinitely putting the solid waste charging on hold or even withdrawing it? And we have passed the Safeguarding National Security Bill. There are changes to the prison rules under the bill. When someone is sentenced for offenses on national security grounds, unless the Commissioner of Correctional Services is satisfied that early release will not be contrary to national security, this prisoner cannot receive remission of their sentence. And it doesn't matter whether the sentence was handed down before or after that bill was passed, this rule will apply. This means for those convicted of national security offenses, which are grave offenses, we need to send a clear message. For someone convicted of those offenses, then normally there is no remission of sentence. And that's the general practice. It's only when the Commissioner of Correctional Services is satisfied that the remission will not be contrary to national security, and only then remission can be considered. This means no one should attempt to do anything to endanger national security, because those offenses will mean normally there is no remission of the sentence. The Commissioner of Correctional Services will follow the law in making such decisions. When someone is aggrieved by such a decision, they have legal means and seek the court's view on how the matter should be dealt with. But the law is clear. National security offenses are grave offenses. No one should flout the law. And no one should expect a remission when those offenses are involved, unless the Commissioner of Correctional Services is satisfied that a remission will not be contrary to national security. On municipal solid waste charging, yesterday, the Secretary for Environment and Ecology explained the matter at the electrical panel meeting. The government wants to pursue a demonstration scheme first, And this will be an in-depth demonstration scheme at the 14 designated premises. We want to see how the scheme will run, how the participation is like, and what kinds of support is needed, and then we will take all the factors into account. I have asked Mr. Warner-Chuk to preside over a cross-departmental task force to monitor and look at the demonstration scheme. They will look at all the circumstances of the demonstration scheme. We will be pragmatic in approaching this matter. Let's give the demonstration scheme some time. We will approach the demonstration scheme with care. We will have a task group for the premises. The task groups will keep an eye on the issues that come up during the demonstration scheme. These teams will also look at the public involvement and also the public feedback in the end. We will look at the operation during the demonstration scheme. We will also do questionnaires. We will ask for feedback to see how things go at the 14 premises. The 14 premises cover residential blocks. We will cover cleaners, property management firms, and also business operators. We will see how the operation goes. After the demonstration scheme, and then in May or June, we will report the matter to the Legislative Council. Next question. On the right, at the front, the journalist in light blue shirt.
Morning Post first would like to follow up on the garbage charging question. Is the current administration still fully committed to this scheme, or do you see is there any alternative to reduce waste production in Hong Kong? And if there is any further change to this scheme, which has actually been cleared by the LegCo years ago, could that deal a big blow to the government's credibility because it cannot even hold on its own commitment? And the second question is about, Paul Lam has said the government prepared practical plans if unfriendly actions are taken against Hong Kong after Article 23 legislation. What are these plans, and what can Hong Kong really do about other countries' jurisdiction? And how are you going to convince the West, the businesses, that Hong Kong is still a good place for business? Thank you.
We all know that it is already law for waste charging to take place. Since this is the law, then the government has to act in order to take forward the implementation of the law. And that is why we are seriously working our plans so as to see how, as we roll out the measures eventually, what are the things that we need to address. And these include something we want to test in the dry run at these 14 locations. We want to, first of all, test how players understand the law and what they anticipate as the challenges as they go through the actual exercise. We want to see how people's behavior in reducing garbage will happen. We also want to know the actual behavioral change of people who produce garbage, of the cleansing staff, of the estate management, and of business operators. Since this is already the law, then the government has to think of a serious way of going forward. But we also are willing to listen to views, and we will pragmatically decide the way forward as we go through the exercise and learn from the experience. And also, after listening to the opinions of the players and also of society at large, we will do this exercise seriously. That is why I have set up an interdepartment working group under the supervision of the Deputy Chief Secretary, Warner Check, to monitor, supervise, and scrutinize the whole exercise, and also the actual results that will be gathered as a result of the exercise. We will deal with all these information in a pragmatic manner, and then plan the way forward. And I think a government trying to do a job to ensure it will be smoothly carried out, taking heed of public opinion, creates credibility for the government. It will be too early for us to make any conclusion, but I think a pragmatic government serious about doing all things after listening to people's views and looking at results, statistics, and opinions of the people who are involved, will create the community confidence in a government that is doing things for their benefit, taking their interests close to their heart, and doing the best to ensure society's interest is best served. It will increase credibility for the government. And that is why I want this exercise to be done, and then we assess the whole thing to plan the way forward. As regards overseas attacks against the safeguarding national security ordinance, which has come into effect on the 23rd of March, we know that a lot of overseas politicians, organizations, because of their own political interests and purposes, they will continue to attack Hong Kong. They will continue to attack our law, despite the very fact that their own countries have more stringent laws, have more wide-ranging laws, have more embracing laws to deal with national security offenses. And some countries actually have much harsher laws to protect their own national security. A lot of them turn a blind eye to what we have done when we so confidently and openly written the protection and safeguard of human rights and freedoms into our law, which may not be the case in their own country's law. They turn a blind eye to all this. And some countries, senior officials, whether former or present, have sometimes take pride in saying that they lie, they cheat, and they steal, and they have full set of training courses for all these things. So when people do all these attacks, think not just twice, but thrice. Who are the people who are saying this? And in recent cases, we see that there are evidence to indicate overseas politicians have been actively interfering with Hong Kong affairs. So the motives of these people are very clear. But we will ensure that we will continue to explain the merit of our safeguarding national security ordinance, which on the one hand is a defensive law to protect our own interests so that people don't dare to think about breaking into our house to cause harm to our family members and harm our national security. And we will ensure to inform the community at large, both locally and overseas, that we have stringent safeguards to protect human rights and freedoms, which is the international standard as described in the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. So we are so confident and so transparently written all these obligations and standards into our law. We will, of course, talk to people in the business sector. We have been doing a lot of briefing sessions to chambers of commerce, both locally and chambers of foreign countries that are stationed in Hong Kong. We will, of course, during our visit to overseas countries, continue to inform the business sector of the advantage of this law, which is to create stability and security, without which no investments can ever hope to thrive. And with stability and security, then prosperity may come. So we'll be informing the business sector officially and unofficially through network. We'll also be coordinating people from different sectors when they are overseas on their business trips, or when they form delegations to do their work. They will tell people of different countries, business sector in particular, what this law is all about, a defensive law, protect ourselves only, and that it has full safeguards for protecting human rights and freedoms, and also ensuring stability and security means good business opportunity for people to come to Hong Kong. We'll continue to do that. I'm sure that a lot of people who love Hong Kong are very willing to do the same together with the government team to tell the world the advantages and what it will create as a result of the ordinance.
時間關係，我哋解答最後一位嘅。
Let's take the last question on the right-hand side. I'm from News Chief Executive. I have one question. Recently, a lot of mega events and international forums are being held, and the government is going to publish these lists of mega events for the second half of the year. Now, has the government considered how the mega events can help the retail sector benefit from the mega events? You can answer in Cantonese. Oh, I respect you. I'm going to answer this question in Putonghua since you put it in Putonghua. The government's role complements those of the business sector and the retail sector. Now, from different aspects, the government provides support, including financial support, to the organizers of these mega events. Private enterprises and organizers alike, they are also responsible for bringing benefits to our economy because it benefits themselves too. The government will fully work with the business sector. For example, the government welcomes any proposals from the private sector. The government provides policy support and consideration to these proposals. With government policies, we can help take forward the proposals. For enterprises in the business sector, my suggestion is that they should come up with plans that can benefit the community in general and themselves. For example, we welcome any ideas to develop a tourist attraction. That means we will provide policy support. We will facilitate the approval procedures, and we'll also consider providing financial support as well. But what is important is that we need a joint effort by all sectors of the community so that at all levels, across all sectors, we can all chip in to help enhance the competitive edge of the sectors and the economy alike, so that we can further take forward collaboration with the Greater Bay Area cities. It is a common vision. We can consider these matters from the Greater Bay Area perspective. And perhaps in the name of the Greater Bay Area, we can take forward certain arts and cultural exchange activities so that we can work with the Greater Bay Area and develop tourism. Thank you. That's the end of the press briefing. Thank you.